Welcome to the DJN TV Chill Room Chat, your space to unwind and talk shop. This episode is sponsored by MadeByDJs.com, innovative tools designed specifically by DJs for DJs. DJEventPlanner.com, the industry standard for streamlining your business and booking faster. And DJRequests.com, the easiest way to manage your dance floor's vibe in real time. Support the show by using our Amazon affiliate link at djntv.com/Amazon. Now, let's get into the mix.
You know, I had someone tell me the other day that I am the same as I was when I was 10. In other words, when I was 10 years old, I became the person that I am. And that person responds to the world the way they do. And that hasn't changed. You're still that person. Hi, I'm Bill. This is Creative License, and thanks for being a part of the Little Dog and Pony Show. And I talk about this stuff from my perspective as a performer. And a lot of where my performance work has been in the last 30 years is in the private event world, doing wedding receptions and corporate events and private parties. And I had to give a lot of thought to what they were trying to say when they said that. And I think what I really came up with is that when something happens to us when we're like 10 years old and someone is mean or they disrespect me, at 10 years old, you automatically respond. And if you're a person who jumps to action and goes, rah, or you fight back, or you get sad, or you blame yourself, or whatever that thing is, you've been doing that since you were 10. And you still have that automatic trigger response now that you're 20, or 30, or 50, or 70, okay? It's already embedded. That's your body that's decided that that's the pattern that it's going to fire off on every time something like I disrespect you, I don't like you, or whatever that thing is, happens. So what's different now then? I mean, how is it then, if that's the truth, that I'm gonna be able to live my life in a way that I feel like I'm in charge of it? Well, here it is that I came up with anyway. At 10 years old, you haven't really decided who's in charge of your life, right? You still got parents, so you still have authority figures, and what you do is watched out on their behalf, and when something happens and they decide what it is, you're not really responsible. You're not really responsible until you're out on your own. Because even when you're 16 and you break a law, you're going to be responsible for it, but so are your parents. And then you get to, at times, say, well, if not my parents doing this, I probably wouldn't be that. Okay. But you do know that you have control over how you respond, right? If I punch you in the face, you can immediately go with the first response in the pattern in your head, which is to fight back or to run away, whatever that is. Or you could choose another thing. You could smile. You could thank me. You could kiss me, hug me. You could, there's a million things that you could do to respond differently. You can. You know that you can. But it's easier to follow the automatic pattern that your brain created when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So we do that. We say, well, what can you do, man? That's just who I am. I mean, I'm just the guy who's going to fight back. I'm just the guy who's going to take out a gun and shoot him. That's just me. I don't know what to tell you. That happens, and I have no control over it. That is you not taking responsibility over your own actions. And if the truth is that none of us have any responsibility over our own actions, then this world would be a really crazy place. It already is, but regularly you make other choices. And you might call them hard, but you do make other choices. And usually the automatic fear response, right? The fight or flight response is hardly ever the response that you should be going for. If somebody comes at you with a gun, fight or flight. That's right. That's correct. Go for that, right? But our body doesn't see somebody disrespecting us as any different than the other guy. Except that our brain understands. So if you can, and I know you can, be responsible for how you control your emotions and how you control how you respond, then the truth is that even though your patterns are the same as they were when they were 10, you now have a power over your life that you didn't think you had. So when someone comes up, when you're DJing and they yell at you, and you can yell back, or you can be disrespectful, or you can be awful to them, because that was a lot easier. They said something terrible, I should say something terrible. They deserve that. Or you take a second and realize you've got other choices you could make. And believe it or not, the other choices are usually much better than the first one. So at the end of the day, if there's one thing that I want to leave you with this, is that you're in control. You're responsible for how you respond. You can't say that the automatic response you had nothing to do with and you can't do anything about, because you can, and you know you can. So when you realize that and you take control of that and you take responsibility for that, then your life changes. It really does. And if that's true, it will change the way you want it to. You will choose how that changes. And that's very powerful. What do you think? Write your comments below. I'm your old buddy Bill. This is Creative License, and I'll see you next time.